You're on the 6 o'clock metro. Shoulders touch shoulders. Breaths mingle in the cold air conditioning. The noise of the tracks echoes through the huddled bodies, all swaying together like a single rhythmic organism. You smell the perfume of others, the sweat of the day, the shared tiredness. Gazes wander, always far away. Upwards, downwards, towards illuminated screens. Never at the eyes next to them. Your fingers touch someone else's on the handrail for a moment. A second of accidental human contact between strangers who have been breathing the same air for 20 minutes. Do you remember when you were a child believing that strangers in public places were just scenery? Figurines in your private story. Now, at some point between childhood and today, you've realized, for everyone there, you're the extra. The silent realization that you too are invisible. The carriage brakes. Bodies adjust automatically. An urban choreography rehearsed without words. Someone coughs. Another sighs. The world continues to happen while parallel existences share the same space without ever really crossing paths. Without ever noticing each other beyond form. In the reflections of the train window, you see faces superimposed on the darkness of the tunnel. Who are these people? What are they carrying? Entire stories pass you by every day, centimeters away. Entire universes breathing next to you, and you'll never know. The paradox is beginning to reveal itself. We've never been so connected by cables, waves, and algorithms. Never have we been so physically together in swollen cities. And yet something is missing. Something fundamental has been lost among so many bodies, among so much shared data. You wonder when was the last time you were really seen. Not just noticed, not just observed, but truly perceived in all its complexity. When did someone look into your eyes long enough to find what lies beyond the surface? Long enough to really see you? At parties, you smile and chat. At meetings, you contribute and agree. At family lunches, you tell the same stories. But there's an abyss between being present and being presence. Between taking up space and genuinely inhabiting a shared moment. Between speaking and being heard. Words slip out of your mouth like bubbles that burst before reaching any surface. How are you? They ask, but your eyes are already checking notifications. I'm fine, you reply, the perfect script for not causing discomfort. So as not to require them to actually look at you. Loneliness is not the absence of people. True loneliness is being surrounded by them and still feeling like an island. It's realizing that the noise around you, conversations, laughter, arguments, only amplifies the inner silence that no one else seems to notice or care about. Our society worships noise, constant movement, the filling of every second. There's something terrifying about silence for the contemporary mind, perhaps because in silence we finally have to face who we really are, without the carefully cultivated distractions. Cities weren't designed for connections. They were designed for flows, for efficiency, for transactions. People move like data in a system, transferred from one point to another. Optimized, packaged, processed, but never really found. The algorithms know your preferences, your clicks, your exact location on the map. They know your patterns better than your closest friends. But they don't know your soul. They don't know what really hurts when you lie down at night. They don't care about your real name. Restaurant tables full of people staring at screens. A ghostly company. We are only half present, inhabiting a limbo between the physical and the digital, never completely anywhere. Never fully with anyone. Never completely with ourselves. The irony of sharing every detail of our lives online while hiding our true fears and desires from the people around us. We build carefully crafted profiles while our true selves disappear under layers of filters, both physical and metaphorical. The eyes meet for a second in the lift and quickly turn away. There is an ancestral fear in this shift. As if by really seeing the other person, we are forced to recognize their complete humanity. And with that, perhaps, our own incompleteness, our own fragility. How many masks do you put on and take off in the course of a single day? The professional mask, the social mask, the family mask. Exhaustion doesn't just come from work, but from the constant state of performance. From the daily theater where everyone acts, but no one really watches anyone else's show. Under the artificial lights of offices, in the corridors of shopping centers, in supermarket queues, on bus seats, a crowd of loners. Together, separated only by the thin film of social convention. By the invisible barrier that says, don't get too close. Don't look too closely. Conversations have become transactions. We exchange words like coins, hoping to receive something of equivalent value. We rarely offer the gift of true attention. We rarely allow ourselves the vulnerability of being fully present, of offering our unreserved listening. The external noise grows in proportion to the internal silence. The louder we speak, the less we hear ourselves. The more people surround us, the less we find ourselves. Loneliness in a crowd is also forgetting yourself. Getting lost in the midst of excess. Remember that party where you met dozens of people, exchanged contacts, smiled in photos? The hours passed between loud music and fragmented conversations. And when you got home, in the silence of your room, the feeling remained, nobody really knew you that night. Nobody was really there. Cities at night, seen from above, are earthly constellations. Thousands of illuminated windows. In each one, a life is happening. Someone crying, someone laughing, someone waiting. Someone looking out and wondering who is looking back. Alone together, separated by walls and conventions. Breakfast in the busy bakery. The same faces almost every day. The same automatic good morning. The same mechanical exchange. And yet, if you didn't turn up for weeks, who would notice your absence? Who would miss not the transaction, but you? Touching the screen has replaced touching the skin. We drag our finger up, down, sideways, consuming other people's lives in healed fragments. Meanwhile, our own bodies are forgotten. Our own skins are starved for a contact that has become increasingly rare. In waiting rooms, we line up like objects. On social media, we present ourselves as products. In relationships, we often negotiate like contracts. At some point, we begin to treat ourselves and others as utilities, not as mysteries to be discovered and honored, but there is an ancient truth hibernating under layers of distraction. Like a seed in winter, it patiently awaits the moment to germinate. The truth that we were made for real encounters. For looks that last. For words that reach. For presences that matter. Your invisibility is not a sentence. It's a temporary condition. Like mist that can dissipate with the first sincere ray of recognition. You carry within you the power to also see others. To break the cycle. To be the first to really look, to really ask, to really listen. Silence doesn't have to be your enemy. It can be the space where you finally find yourself. Where you recognize your own hunger not just for company, but for communion. Not just for words, but for true communication. Not just presence, but connection. There are almost sacred moments, small chinks in the routine where the veils briefly fall away. A stranger holds the door for you and, for a second, your gazes really meet. A genuine smile. A small kindness for no ulterior motive. A mutual recognition of humanity. In the veins of cities, between buildings and honking horns, a river of human possibilities still flows. The ancestral need to be a tribe, to belong, to mean something to someone still pulses. To have witnesses for our journey. To be seen in our contradictory and beautiful complexity that we are like galaxies, seemingly separated by vast empty spaces, but actually connected by invisible forces that we don't fully understand. The same stellar matter that makes up the constellations runs through your veins. The same cosmic impulse of connection pulses in your chest. Loneliness can be a portal. A necessary passage. An invitation to delve deeper into yourself before really encountering the other. To recognize your own vastness before seeing the vastness of others. To make peace with your own silences before filling in the shared silences. Ancient cultures understood what we have forgotten. That looking each other in the eye is an act of courage. That sharing a meal is a sacred ritual. That telling stories around the fire is weaving the social fabric that keeps us human. That we need each other not just to survive, but to mean something. What really separates you from the strangers on the metro? Aren't they carrying similar memories? Similar fears that keep you awake? Similar dreams that make you get up in the morning? Beneath the superficial differences, the same red blood flows, the same anxious heart beats. Perhaps the biggest lie is that we are alone in our experiences, that no one would understand, that our inner abysses are too unique to be shared, when in fact, what unites us is precisely our common incompleteness, our common search for meaning, a call to presence. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to perform to be valuable. You don't need to conquer the world to deserve a real look. Your mere existence is already a statistical miracle in the universe. Your consciousness is already an extraordinary light in the cosmos. Start small. A sustained look. A sincere question. Unhurried listening. Offer first what you want to receive. Be the break in the pattern. The moment of pause in the social algorithm. The hand that touches not out of obligation or advantage, but out of the simple recognition of shared humanity. True connection doesn't happen in the noise, but in the spaces between words. Not in the crowd, but in the moments of authenticity we manage to create even when surrounded by it. Not in the quantity of contacts, but in the quality of the presences we cultivate in our lives. Remember, those who really see you may not be many, but they will be enough. One pair of eyes that recognizes your soul is worth more than 1,000 empty stares. A hug that really feels you is worth more than 1,000 protocol touches. An attentive ear is worth 1,000 scattered conversations. To be seen, first see yourself. Recognize your own depths, your own abysses, your own light. Make peace with your fundamental loneliness and then transform it into solitude. That fertile state of being with yourself without despair, that full presence that attracts other full presences. And when the metro stops again, when the bodies adjust to the automatic dance of the city, perhaps you can suspend the choreography for a moment. See beyond the masks. Feel beyond the surfaces. And in the midst of the passing crowd, be truly present. A quiet beacon of awareness in the human ocean.